Welcome to the Goddesses of Social Work podcast, hosted by Renita Ray Davis, licensed clinical social worker, board-approved social work clinical supervisor, and facilitator of the Goddesses of Social Work supervision community. Join us as we travel through the social work journeys told by the Goddesses of Social Work community members, past and present, as they make their way toward clinical licensure.
Welcome to the Goddesses of Social Work podcast. I'm your host, Renita Ray Davis, and today we are joined by Tenessa Shepherd, LICSW. Tenessa is one of our very own Goddesses of Social Work who recently achieved a huge milestone, becoming a licensed independent clinical social worker, and today we get to celebrate her journey. Tenessa Shepherd, LICSW, is a newly licensed independent clinical social worker with 10 years of experience in social services. Her career has spanned several areas of practice, including child welfare as a foster care and adoption worker, adult and child mental health as both a case manager and an inpatient psychiatric social worker, and now in her current role as a substance use disorder treatment social worker. A proud mother of two beautiful daughters, Tenessa is a native of Alabama with deep family ties to North Carolina. She is a graduate of both Auburn University and Troy University. Outside of her work, she enjoys reading, resting, and embracing the joys of motherhood. Tenessa, I am so excited to have you here today. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. I am excited to be here as well.
I just love your energy. I do. And one of the things I'm excited too about is both of us are alum of Auburn University War Eagle. And,
War Eagle.
on the podcast, I often get to talk to people who attended HBCUs. I don't think I've ever really got to talk to anyone. I think Macy might have, but I don't think I've gotten to talk to anyone who graduated from the same university I did, Auburn. Yes, and so I'm always asking, what was your experience at HBCU? But I want to know, what was your experience at Auburn University on the quad?
It was it was wonderful. I mean, I knew I wanted to go to Auburn. I had to go to Auburn. It was just destined for me to get to Auburn. But it was like school. Like I saw people that looked like me. I saw people that didn't look like me. It was a learning experience, of course, being from a predominantly Black community, then stepping out and going to PWI. It's like, okay, I can't act exactly like I would act at the house, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Auburn. I would recommend it to anybody. I low key want my daughter to go, both of them. I love Auburn. I love Auburn.
You know what? My daughter did go to Auburn. She's a legacy. Yes. And it's pretty cool to have your kid go to the same university that you did. You know what, Tanessa? I was thinking when you said a lot of people who are talking to me about the HBCUs they attended because they wanted to be immersed in with people who look like them. But you're absolutely right. At Auburn, there was a diverse group of people, different. I mean, not just what we see black, white, but like a
Everybody.
diverse group of folks that attended the university. And so, coming from a rural town and seeing all the different colors, shapes, and sizes, that must have been a unique experience for you.
It was, and I enjoyed it because, like you said, just getting enriched in different cultures, just languages, just looking at different people, it kind of exposes you to the real world. Like, not to just be sheltered in the community that you're in, but to step out, because some of these people you might run into down the road, especially going to Auburn. Like, let's be realistic. Black girl graduating from Auburn University, come on now. I've had people in my community say, "You went to Auburn?" Yes. "You graduated?" Absolutely. So I felt, that sense of pride, that joy that, I can stand tall and say, okay, yeah, I went to Auburn and I succeeded.
And succeeded. Yes. And you know what, though? I'm going to share. I went to Auburn and then I got the opportunity to go to the University of Alabama. Literally, I graduated from Auburn in May and started University of Alabama in June. And one of the things what you were saying, I want my daughter to go to Auburn University. One of the things I used to think about all the time was Auburn was very family oriented. I mean, I know it's a college town, and I mean, there's gonna be some stuff, right?
Mhm.
But it just seems like you could go to Mellow Mushroom, have a pizza with your professor, pizza and beer, because I did that with your professor, and because it had that small town feel,
Mhm.
and you couldn't get, even though there's so much diversity, and it is such a
Right.
huge college, and it's grown, especially I'm sure since I
Yeah.
graduated, and definitely, it's grown since I graduated, but I just remember it feeling like my kid could go here and it'd be
Mhm.
okay. It would be
And
safe.
be
And
okay by
yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I love that. I hope she goes. She's a singer this year too, right?
She
Ah,
is.
so choices. Good job
Right.
too, Mama. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Talking about our kids growing up, when you were growing up, what did you or
Mhm.
who did you want to most be like growing up?
To be honest with you, it wasn't necessarily a person that I wanted to be like. And I say that because of how my mother instilled values in me. It's like you yourself are who you want to be. Stand tall in who you are. Be proud of yourself. If they mispronounce your name, correct them every time. Tell them the meaning of your name. Stand tall in your truth. So I always wanted to be like this superhuman me. Like I wanted to be the be all say all. And that just kind of led me to always put my best foot forward, like no matter what I'm doing. And this personally, I anything with my name on it has to be almost perfect. Like I don't want no flaws or nothing because I stand tall on my name, my brand. I've even instilled that in my daughters. Like your name holds weight. So when she put that into me, of course I'm gonna feel like that. So growing up, I've always wanted to make sure that when people say my name, they say good things or they're proud of it or they feel like it means like something more than just a regular name. So I really just wanted to be that girl. And I am that girl. I mean, it's me. So just standing in that was how I grew up. Like, make sure you get good grades and she basically told us, you can't be out here talking smack and you dumb. So make sure you got them grades together. Make sure when you leave the house, you looking presentable because you never know who's out there. Even when my mom used to go to the store, makeup, curl her hair, put clothes on, and we was just going up the street to the store and come back to the house. So when you go out, you're your brand. What do you want people to say about your brand? And that was my biggest thing growing up is just making sure the brand was not tarnished. And I was the smartest girl in the world, and I was that girl, and everybody wanted to be me, and that's it.
And that's still the energy. You are that girl. You are that girl to this. I love that. You know what? You said something the other day. I was talking to someone because in especially after COVID, maybe, or maybe it's always been this way because a lot of us started working from home. And so we were seeing our neighbors a lot more. And so I still work from home. But every single day I get up and I get dressed and I put my earrings on, even if nobody else can see them. And I put my
Yes.
eyeliner on and my lipstick on. And I'm sitting right here in the house. And
Yes.
I get dressed. But then I go outside, on the days that I get to go outside, yay, to go to Publix or something. And I notice people are like in their slides and, their black socks and their slides. And I feel so out of place,
Mm-mm.
but not real. I feel like, am I overdressed for coming
For coming
outside?
outside.
I was like, well, y'all gonna get this today.
Right.
Y'all are gonna get this today because I'm
Yes.
like putting some effort
Mm-hmm.
into what you look like. It helps
Mm-hmm.
with your mental health. And I want to
Absolutely.
I want to add to that if I can.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of my clients may even listen to the podcast, but one of the things that I've noticed, especially the last 3 or 4 months, is I probably even longer than that, but really started paying attention to it the last 3 or 4 months. My clients get dressed up to come to therapy. And I really believe it's because I get dressed up, even though I'm
Absolutely.
sitting here in my own home. They get dressed and they tell me this. That's why maybe it's why I noticed, because they're actually saying it. I got dressed up to come to therapy. I love that. Come dressed up to come to therapy, because that means you showered. That means we're breaking free from the walls of
Right.
depression and
And depression.
anxiety. And it took was me modeling, getting dressed up,
Mhm.
even though I'm sitting at home. We're already heightening our energy, and we hadn't even had our session yet.
It's that presentation. Like if
It's
I'm sitting
everything.
across from you, I want you to look. I want to see me in you. So when I'm looking at you and I'm getting therapy from you, I want to be sure that you know what, she's smiling, she's put together. No matter what's going on, her hair is laid, she got her makeup on, her nails, everything. So that lets me know that you're coming here with your full self. So I need to present my full self. And that's what I do with my clients. I make sure I show up like this because I notice that when I do that, they latch on, like they listen. Even I'm going to listen better because I feel like she's saying stuff and she knows what she's talking about and she looks the part. If you don't look the part, nobody's going to take you serious. I've always had to look that part. And I'm doing that with my daughters.
I love it. Your daughters are really blessed to have you, and you are blessed to have your mom. Can we say her name? Because you know your name, Tenessa, Tenessa Shepherd,
My mother's name
LICSW.
is Teresa.
Yes. We honor Teresa. We honor her. Because Tenessa, you are a whole experience.
I am.
Yes.
But you know, that might be my dad's fault too because he kind of like raised me and I'm a daddy's girl. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
my mama told me I was all that, and my daddy told me I don't have to ever hear the words no. So it's like, this is really my world.
A whole experience. So let's call out your daddy's name too. Make sure he gets some
My
props.
daddy's name is Shawnee.
I love that. Such a unique name. I've never asked you that in all the time I've known you. Okay. All right. I love that. Tanessa, one of the reasons you are here, one of the reasons we started the
Mm-hmm.
podcast was because I love hearing the stories and social work journeys of social workers that I've had the honor of being on your journey with. And I
Mm-hmm.
asked you to come on this podcast a year ago. And just like what you said, I don't do nothing that has my name on it unless it is perfection. And there was
Absolutely.
something that you wanted to accomplish that meant to you that when we said your name out loud on this podcast,
Yes,
it meant
ma'am.
perfection to Nessa Shepherd,
Absolutely.
LICSW. And so
Absolutely.
I finally have you on, and I'm just like, yes, you meant that. You meant nothing with
Did
my
like
name.
I was like, I hope she know that the reason why I'm not on here yet is because the letters have not changed yet.
But now they have. And now I finally get to hear your journey. But I want to hear from the beginning. Like, how did
From
you
the
find out about,
beginning.
yes, how did you find out about social work? What did you do
Okay.
at Auburn and Troy? And all the way up to where we are now, and why you finally said yes to coming on the podcast.
So beginning, I wasn't even supposed to be a social worker. I was supposed to be a doctor. Like, again, coming from a small town, the way you're gonna get some money, you gotta be a doctor. You might be a teacher and get some money, but I never knew what social work was. I didn't know that existed. So I went to Auburn knowing I was gonna be a doctor. Long story short, I end up having my first daughter. So I had to kind of change my major from pre-med and focus on getting on out of there. So I end up changing it to interdisciplinary studies, where I had all my science classes except maybe I might have been shy anatomy and mammalian physiology. And then I took a bunch of psychology classes as electives. Those are my electives. Like I didn't take just like the fine art stuff. I like psychology because I like human nature. I like how the mind works. So I end up taking a bunch of psychology classes. I could have been a psychology major, but I graduated from Auburn, ended up doing nothing, just raising my baby, having fun in the streets, doing everything. So then it was like, okay, what you gonna do? Because you got this Auburn degree and you just sitting on it. You're not doing nothing with it. Again, now I'm looking at, okay, what does your brand look like? Like, come on now, this you. So I end up going home to North Carolina. I was going to get a job there. Ended up like, nobody is trying to hire me. What do I do? So something said apply for DHR in Tuskegee. And that's what I end up doing. I got there. Now, nobody knows this but my dad. They called me and asked me for an interview. And I like made up a story because I was so scared to take the job that I couldn't interview that day. She made accommodations to interview me another day. So it was like, you're going to get this job. I don't know what you're doing. So I ended up getting a job at DHR as a foster care worker. Didn't know nothing about social work, didn't know what I was doing. So that's how I knew I take notes. Like, tell me what I'm supposed to do, what it looks like, and I'm going to write it down. I end up doing foster care and it like, like I was the best one doing it. Because I had those kids, I think I made a big impact on their lives because even if I see them in passing, they come up to me, they talk to me. And I think that's what made me fall in love with social work was helping kids. I just, just making sure they're okay. And I don't know if that was the mother instinct as well, but making sure that kids are being heard and not hurt was a big motivator. So I was working as DHR and my director was like, you need to get your master's in social work. I was like, okay, how am I gonna do that? And they was like, well, Troy, I'll let you do that. So I ended up applying to Troy, got into Troy. So while I was at DHR, I was going to school. Then DHR kind of burnt me out because I felt myself doing too much for the kids in care and not doing enough for my kids at home. So my dad was like, you got to do something different because you burning yourself out to the point where when you come home, you're not even able to take care of your own babies. So I end up quitting, still in school because I'm a thug it out. Once I'm in school, I'm in school. I end up, I think after DHR, I stayed out of work for like 6 months. So I was just focused on school. So I think that last year, because I had to do the 2-year program at Troy for my MSW, I ended up with my internship being at mental health in my city that I stay in, which was excellent because I ended up getting a job there. So now I'm from child welfare to adult and child mental health. So I fell head over heels in mental health. I love everything about it. The just everything, the behaviors, the diagnoses. I just love everything about mental health. I was like, you know what? If they paid a little bit more money at this place, I would stay. Like this would be permanent for me. So I was at mental health for a while, and then I ended up getting not a secretary job, but more like a scheduling job at the VA, trying to get my foot in the door. And by that time, I had my license. Nope, I didn't have my license. Once I got at the VA, I was studying for my licensure because I graduated while I was at the VA in my AMSA role. And I took my licensure test and passed on the first try. And so now I was just sitting trying to see how I can get from putting in schedules to being a social worker out here. So I ended up talking to one of the chief of staff, and he was like, you're going to have to leave out and come back in. So I was like, boom, like, dang, I got my license and I'm still ain't good enough. So it kind of took a toll on me, like, okay, what's next? So I end up leaving the VA because I got a phone call from my previous DHR supervisor's spouse because he worked at a therapeutic foster care agency. But before that, I had already said, okay, I'm going to take this job at the community hospital and be in the psych ward for a little bit because I need some money. And it was more money there than it wasn't more money than the VA, but I needed that experience. And I was like, okay, you got to get this experience. At this point, I was like, you have to take a pay cut to get your experience because you know what the last goal is. This is not the end goal. So we got to do whatever we got to do. If it means less money to get what we need. So I ended up going to the psychiatric hospital. It was still mental health. So I was still, hey, I was cool. But then I got that phone call about some money and I needed that money. So here I go back to therapeutic foster care. So I didn't up the level. We're not just doing regular foster care. We're doing therapeutic foster care, and that's more intense. So I was like, this job back and forth. So just go ahead and do it. I end up doing it. And I got complacent. And you know how I am when I get complacent. I get antsy. So I'm trying to see, okay, what can I do next? Because this is not going to be my end goal. Being back in foster care, you want to do mental health. So by that time, I'm applying like every other day for jobs at the VA. 2 years go by. I finally get an email that I was selected for the substance use. And I was selected for caregiver support. I was like, whoever called me first, I don't care what it is. I'm going. End up getting a call from substance use. And they said they sent me an interview date. And let me tell you how I know I'm protected and I'm covered. Because prior to that email, I was going to leave anyway. I had some money saved up. I was like, you've done this before. You can sit at the house until something else comes because you got your license. You could do something in spare time. So I had plans on leaving in October. But I ended up getting that phone call. So I extended it to November. I sat out of work from November to January, waiting to just start at the VA. And I think that did me some good time. So I think a lot of people fail to realize you need a break in social work. It's okay to take a break. So with that 3 months sitting out, I was able to recharge and prepare myself for what I was working towards. My daddy wanted me to get at the VA. It was like, get out there. So I was like, okay, when I do this, I can get back in mental health and I can make my daddy happy because that was the most important thing to me, making him proud of, what he's done, what he's produced. So I ended up getting it. And you can't pay me to leave out of my department unless there's some more money on the floor and it's in my department. But I love everything about mental health. I love everything about social work being able to tap into mental health. I think that's why I'm grounded in social work is because I can do what I like. And also it's not, it's not that it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not all about, taking people's kids or, just pushing food stamp applications. Social work is literally like, it's everything. It's what everyone needs, especially when it comes to therapy. I love doing therapy. I love hearing people's stories. I being all in a business, trying to pull out the good things. And I think that's what kind of attract me to mental health is knowing how to pull out the goodness in other people because they don't see it. And I don't understand how you don't see it when I can see it in myself. So let me help you get to where I'm at where you can see it in yourself. So I think I love to do that, to make people happy, to make people smile, to make people just feel like life is worth living. Because a lot of the population that I work with, they don't have that mentality. It's like, I'm tired and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next, Miss Shepherd. So in my mind, I'm like, hey, let's look at this. I love what I do because I feel like I'm giving back to the earth. This is what I'm supposed to do. I was supposed to be a healer or a helper. I'm a Pisces. I'm supposed to do this. So with that being said, I'm comfortable. It's not dragging me. Of course, I want to make all the money in the world, but I can sit down finally and say, you know what? I'm okay. I'm not looking for another job because you know me. Back then, I was on the what I'm going to do next. I'm going to get some experience somewhere else because this ain't it. But now I feel like, okay, everything is how it's supposed to be, because even when I thought I was going to be a doctor, the reason why I wanted to be a doctor is because I wanted to heal people. That was my whole intention. No matter what I did, I wanted to heal and help people. And it really was, I wanted to heal and help people that look like me, because I felt like we didn't get those resources, because growing up, I didn't have those resources. No one told me about, going to therapy, or even how to get food stamps or public assistance or anything like that. So being able to actually tell people that look like me, who didn't know, like I didn't know, that these are the resources out there, this is how you can get help. I feel like, again, I'm healing. I'm healing. I have to heal people. I'm good at it. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do but heal people, whether it's a medical doctor or a clinical social worker. Either way it goes, I'm supposed to heal people. So I feel like now I'm finally where I'm supposed to be. I didn't know that my journey was going to take me this place. Because, like I said, I never knew social work existed. I only knew to be a doctor or a teacher. But I'm here. And I love everything about it. I love everything about it. I'm really okay. And I'm glad to say that. Finally.
Isn't that a powerful thing to say? Isn't it? I am
Yes.
okay. I am
Like,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is so good. And I wrote so many things down, but I want to go back to when you're saying you're sitting in front of your clients and you're sitting in front of veterans and they can't see
Mm-hmm.
the good in them, but you can see it because you can see it in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's so fun for you and so easy for you to pull it out. And it all starts back to where you started this interview, knowing that you are that girl. And just saying that to our audience, like it starts with
Yes.
you. It starts with
Yes.
you knowing. It don't
Who
start
you
in the
are.
textbooks and all of that other stuff. It starts with you knowing that even if nobody else outside is gonna get dressed, you gotta know that
Sure.
you ain't doing it for nobody else but you. You gotta know that the good is in you first, and then you can
Mm-hmm.
so easily see it in
Mm-hmm.
others. And Shanessa, that was so beautiful. That was so beautiful. I want to also, because one of the, I love that you're like one of the OG goddesses. You know what I mean? Like you people know you. You've been around
Right.
but you're always uplifted. But one of the things that you taught, because it was one of my mantras, and then you were a living example of it. Because here I am sitting, in my little at-home office, private. What do I know what I'm talking about? But you would be a perfect example, because I would tell people, at whatever license level you're at, that thing is mobile. You don't have to stay at a job. If you are
When you
miserable,
told me that, me and Katrina, we didn't
yeah.
care.
And I
We was
love
gonna
how when
go.
you were talking about your journey, I went to this job, I was on Indeed on this day, I was doing this, I got a phone call, and I was over
That's
here.
another thing I tell social workers that are
Mm-hmm.
coming up. Like, get your experience. Do all of it. Until you find your footing, do all of it. Why not? I
And
think
you
I've
know
done
what?
everything.
And because this is what happened, now you're sitting here and you're like, I'm okay. There's no need, there's no
Mm-hmm.
compulsion, there's no anxiety for me to go here, there, and in the other place. I
Mm-hmm.
have found what I'm doing. And the other person who was right along there doing it with you was Katrina. And I bet she would also say right now in this moment, she is okay. But
Mm-hmm.
we've been trained or conditioned, I'll even say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you got to stay at a job for this amount of time, or you got to stay at a
Yes.
job for this amount of time. But you don't. You
You
absolutely
don't.
do not have to stay at a
Like,
job
if
for
you go in there the first day and you see that's not what you want to do, go leave back out.
these two fingers.
Like,
Because the
hey,
thing
I
is,
left y'all
yeah,
equipment in the office.
yes, I left my equipment in the office. Your file folders and everything. Because the thing is yes, the skill set and experience is important, but what's also
Mm-hmm.
important, them letters behind your name. These agencies and
Mm-hmm.
organizations need those letters behind your name. So
Mm-hmm.
you date until you find one you want to marry.
Yep.
It's not that we need them. My favorite line is Jay-Z said, "Y'all need me. I don't need you." At the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
When I go
having
into
that, I'm
interviews, that's
that
how I think.
girl. having that
Mm-hmm.
mentality of I'm that girl, knowing that you are that girl, get up, get dressed, and then
Mm-hmm.
remember that they need you. You don't need them.
Right.
You
I don't
got me.
understand why nobody see that but me and you
I
and my kids.
we done help some other folk out with that one. We done help some other folk out with that one. But
Stand
I
in your
wanna
truth.
yes, I wanna go back to a couple of things before we get
Mm-hmm.
to one of the very important things that we're about to lead into. But as a
Okay.
DHR worker, I always say thank you because that's a special kind of work. And the fact that
Mm.
you did it and did it so well to almost to the detriment of your own family and your own self.
Right.
But I just always want to pause because we don't do it enough and just say thank you for doing that work
Mm.
because those babies and those adults need you and they need people like you who care. And so thank you so
Yeah.
much for doing that work. But my God, I wrote down what you said or your daddy said that you were doing more for the kids in care than you were doing for your kids at home. That was a
Mm-hmm.
powerful statement. What have you
And
learned
for him to
about
say it kind of
boundaries?
moved me. Like when he
Mm,
said that, I was like, because with me, my daddy saying anything in a disappointing tone kind of sets me off my rocker. And he was like, "What you doing?" So I was like, "Oh, I'm finna quit next week then." And I put my 2 weeks in. As soon as he made that statement, I put my 2 weeks in because
that's what
I
you
started
learned
to
about
see it too.
boundaries. Because I asked you a question. What did you learn about boundaries? Oh, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
I gotta
My
go.
daddy told me I gotta go, so
Mhm.
I'm finna go. My daddy said I gotta go, so I gotta go.
I
But
have
I
used that
also
phrase
see it.
before. My dad said, I gotta go.
No, I gotta go. And I saw it in my daughters. I saw the change once I did leave DHR, just the energy that kind of fed into them. Because when I was at DHR, it was a exhausting energy, and I was doing that to my girls. So I'm glad that my dad did take me out when they were a certain age because now I made up for all of that because they were kind of small. And it's not an excuse, but you know, luckily I was able to correct the behavior that I was exhibiting and showing them because it wasn't fair to them. So my daddy said, "You about to quit that job? I'm about to quit this job so I can spend
Mhm.
time with my girls, so I can be with my girls." And after that, I was with my girls, and it was better. And now we where we're supposed to be.
Absolutely. And I was one of the things that I've said out loud. I don't know if I've ever said on podcast, but that's one of the things in my 26-year career. If I could do over, I would make sure I prioritize my own children
Mm-hmm.
over. And so, as a person who's been in this field, but profession, I don't like saying field anymore. For somebody who's
Profession.
been in this profession for so long and looking back, I'm so glad that you recognized that early on in your career. And I'm saying out loud to other people, students, and our social workers
Yes.
newly, like, prioritize yourself, your family, your God, whatever that is before you, because
Mm-hmm.
this job is just a job. It is just one piece of who you are, and make sure you
Yeah.
prioritize that. So I want to lean into one of the reasons you finally said yes to coming on the Guys of the Social Work podcast. So,
Ooh.
interestingly, you said getting your LMSW, and then they're saying, you got to leave out the VA to come back in to get, and apparently he must have been right because you are, back at the VA in the position you're supposed to be in. But you said it took a toll on you to be like, oh, am I not enough? And so having to have that experience and that journey to gain the experience to really ground yourself in yourself. But then we have this LCSW journey that
Mm-hmm.
you go on, and I want to. This is why you're here. So talk to me.
So with this journey, I started. I took it when I was at the therapeutic foster care agency, and I think universe was putting me in a position to see that okay, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, so I'm not going to give you what you want. Because at that time, I literally was just chaotic in my mind. I wasn't happy where I was working at. I was not a happy person. Then on top of that, my dad got sick. So I had to sit down and tell myself, you know what, you doing too much. But in my mind, because again, I think I'm that girl. I know I'm that girl. I'm still gonna go ahead and take this test, even though everything behind me is on fire. I'm still gonna go ahead and take this test, and I end up failing it. So when I failed it that day, I literally thought my whole world ended because I'm like, my dad done got sick. I'm not happy at my job. And I done failed this test, so I can't move on. I'm stuck here. And I hate being stuck. So I was like stuck in like this depressive mode. I was literally just smiling on the outside and devastated on the inside. So once I quit that job and got at the VA, I think everything kind of switched like, okay, now you know what you're supposed to do. Let's get to doing it. So in my mindset, okay, we're going to start studying. I put that test off for a whole year because of me failing it that one time. I said, until you get it all the way together, you're not taking that again. So this time, and you know me and you be on that, that universal level. I said, and I'm telling you what I said. Since I'm a Pisces, I'm gonna take it in a water sign. So I said Cancer coming up. I'm gonna take it in Cancer season. I'm gonna take it before it ends. I have to take this test in Cancer season. Then on top of that, I'm back working in mental health where I was working at when I passed my LM. This is your time to take it, T. You back in mental health, and you about to do it in your water sign. Nothing was going on. I didn't tell nobody nothing. I didn't even tell my daddy this time. I told nobody nothing. I knew I was taking that test when I saw you last time at your supervision group. I already knew my dates and everything, but I kept it to myself. And so this time when I passed it, I was crying so bad that I don't know if I was crying because of a Pisces and Cancer season, but I was it's like taking that LM was like, yeah, I did that type of joy. But passing this LC, it's like when I tell you something just lifted up off me, and I was so happy that I could breathe because I felt like I was choking because I hadn't had this LC. And then you got people at work saying, you need to get your LC. What's taking you so long? When you're going to take the test, if you want to move up, you need to get the LC. And I'm like, I know what I'm about to take it. I just don't need that pressure on me because I'm trying to make sure that everything is lined up like it's supposed to. If it lines up like it's supposed to, it's going to go how it needs to go. So that's how I literally got to where I'm at now, to where I could actually breathe and just feel that relief and that joy that I actually finally did it. But I had to make sure the stars and the moon was together for that one because I was not about to pay that money no more. And I felt my spirit was better when I took it this time. And I went in there with a better mindset. I went in there with a mindset like, you know this. You know how to be a social worker. So go in here and take this test knowing that you know these answers and do it like you're supposed to do. I didn't change no answers. I think I flagged maybe 20 questions. And I went back through them and I was like, I ain't changing it. Nope, not changing it, not changing it, not changing it. I just left it there. I said, you know this information. Why are you second guessing yourself? What are you doing that for? That's another thing I'll tell anybody. You know the information. You live and breathe it. So what are you second guessing yourself for? So I had to tell myself, you're not changing no answers. I don't care how many you flag. You might need to read it 2 or 3 more times, but you're not changing no answer because you knew it the first time you read it. You know this information. I kept telling myself that. You know this. So clearly I did because it said pass on the screen and I almost flipped them folks' stuff over because I literally, before I pressed the button, because you got to do the survey before you get to the last screen. And I was like, come on, I need to pass. Like I was gambling. I had my hand on the remote like I'm finna press the bingo at the casino. Like, give me a pass. And it popped up, and I was just like, yes, thank you. I needed this win. I needed this win right here. So it all lined up like it was supposed to. And I'm so thankful because I feel like, the energy has shifted for me and I'm good where I'm at. I know who I am and I can stand in my truth. And I'm finally done with that testing. Like, I don't have to do that anymore. That's a relief. So now we're here.
And now we're here. Tenessa Shepherd, LICSW, I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. And I want to say three things. You know, we on that universal level. Yes, amen. And I do believe I do believe there is something to be said about the stars and the moon lining up in your favor. I mean, Moses, Abraham, and all them other folks did, so why not? So
why not?
Yes. I absolutely agree with you that there's something to be said about that. And I even talk, some of the girls that call me and I'm like, so and so's in retrograde. I wouldn't take it during this season. And they'll call me, what did you say, Renita? We're good. Good times. And I'm just like, yes, I do believe that the stars and the moon are pretty helpful towards us. But one of the things that I remember on this year-long journey you took after the first time is one of the times I got to see you. I heard you telling somebody that you had put your study material in the garage. And remember, and we were even talking about stars and moon that day. And I was like, this is a good time to sow a seed and go get that study. But talking about that was the one thing I wrote down, and then the other one was telling nobody what you are doing. We got folks who didn't even tell their partners or husbands, nobody what you are doing, because that pressure, like what you're saying, with the VA people coming and saying, "When you gonna get that C? When you gonna get that C?" We get this external pressure put on us. You do. And it's not about you and who you are anymore. It's about people pleasing and wondering what folks are going to say and or letting folks down. And so just having that journey independent and solo on your own of not telling anyone, like you said, you saw me. We've been on this journey since you've been in graduate school. And I said, don't even tell me. I tell people, don't even tell me when you taking it.
I literally told my dad, I got to be in Montgomery tomorrow morning. And they thought I was just going on like some work stuff because I'm always going for trainings in Montgomery. So I was like, yeah, I just got to leave early because I got to go to Montgomery tomorrow. And everybody was like, okay. So I literally went to Montgomery the next day and took the test. And didn't tell nobody. I called my dad once I passed and told him where I was at. But other than that, nobody knew nothing. Like, I was literally the only person that knew it.
And I think that is the key, because this is just you against you. That test is you, because like you said, you know it. It is just you against you. And can you show up? Like we've been talking this whole podcast episode. Can you show up for yourself? Not worrying about who else is showing up. Can you just show up for yourself? And Tenessa, you showed up, didn't it? And showed out.
Absolutely.
Love that for you. Love it for you. You've already done so much across so many areas of the social work field, the social work profession, foster care, mental health, inpatient, psychiatric, and now you're in substance use. Yay for you. You got this clinical now. But yet you also said, I'm okay. And I felt that. I resonated with that. I'm okay. Sometimes a lot of people, I hear so many of the guys that come back when they get their clinical, they're like, I just think I'm going to be still for a minute, because it's like accomplishment after accomplishment after accomplishment. But sometimes folks go ahead and jump and do some things as well. What are your thoughts about what's next for you now that you're clinically licensed?
So initially, everybody, once they get that C, it's like, okay, I can be independent now. I can go into my own practice. But honestly, I don't want to do that no more. I'm okay not having my own practice. I'm okay going to somebody else's job, making sure, somebody else does all that paperwork. I got my insurance. I don't have to deal with the logistics. I don't want to do the administration work of having my own practice. Sorry, I've done this for years and I want to be lazy. So let me work for somebody else. But I do want to move up in the facility that I am in because I do feel like, my skill set can be on a leadership level because in other facilities, I've been a leader. So I still want to do that, but I'm not pressed on, just trying to be out here being independent. I'm like everybody else. Like once you get that, you're good. You're good. You don't have to rush and do nothing else. You can stay where you at, or you can do a little consult on the side. But I am good where I'm at because again, I'm in mental health. The only thing I have to worry about is putting my notes in. That's it. And coming back home. I can do that. I can do that for a long time. So I'm good. I'm good. I am good. Do I want to be, like a supervisor or, someone in leadership? Of course. That would be the next steps. But right now, it's just like, hey, I'm good. I'm good.
I love that. And I love because I try to tell people, y'all, just enjoy it for a minute.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That itch, that antsiness, it will come back. It will, even if you ever did decide to do private practice, you might do it for a few years and be like, oh, okay. Because I talk to myself all the time. Oh, okay. Am I ready to go back? You know what I mean? Like, you don't, just because you're doing a thing doesn't mean you have to always do that thing. You know what I mean? And so just enjoy the place you are, be present where you are, get all the benefits of what you're doing now. And then when the universe is ready to move you, you'll know it's time to move. So I love that you're like, I'm good. I'm good. Tenessa, I want to get to brag on the guys of social work just for a minute. Because this weekend, it was literally this weekend, I was thinking about you. I knew we were doing this podcast episode. I was thinking about some of the other goddesses who have reached out to me. And then I was like, wait a minute. And I went back through my text messages. And since May 3rd, 8 goddesses of social work have gotten their clinical license. And today is August 28th. So about in a 3 or 4 month span, 8 women, beautiful women,
that you've touched.
Yes, who've been in this. The point is, who've been in this community are now clinically licensed, and that's leading me to my question of why is being in community so important. And I want to answer a little bit. I think the reason, because to me, I'm like 8 with our little community right here in Alabama, where we know Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia have some of the least licensed folks in the nation. And our little community in a 3 or 4 month span got eight clinically licensed social workers that we're able to say, hey, I know you. I spent time with you. We're in community. You're my tribe. I feel like the reason isn't because we're doing anything special. We are. And what that special is, we cheer each other on. We root for each other. We ask each other how they're doing. We don't let you give up. You and Katrina came back and talked to the goddesses about your experiences. And then literally within a week of each other, y'all both get licensed again. I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's something magical, I think, about, and I think everything's magical, but I think there's something magical about being in community with women and sometimes a couple of men who want to see you do well, and that leads to these big wins. And so what has being in community for you, and you can specifically talk about the goddesses, but just being in a social work community, what has that meant for you?
I mean, well, first thing, when I first met you, I knew I wanted you to be a part of my life because I even told you when we were in school, like, hey, whatever you do after this, tag me along, like take me with you. So you bringing like the goddesses together, I was like, okay, she's a good judge of character, so I'm sure that people that's going to gravitate to her, I'll be okay with them, letting them know who I am, letting them see me for who I am. And so far, that's what it's been. Like, I feel like with our community, the right people are there, the right energy is there. And like you said, we cheer each other on. Like, some of them I went to school with, some of us just went to the same school. But it's like you said, it's always uplifting. It's always something positive. Even when we do have a misstep, it's always something encouraging. It's never no shadiness, no none of that. So, excuse me. I think with community, it all depends on the energy and what do you actually want to accomplish with this. Because everybody can't be with us. You might have to be in another community. You see what I'm saying? So our community is like you got to have a wristband to get in. And I love that because the people that I've walked on this journey with, I still communicate with now. Like even when I told everybody I passed, it was some people in there that I haven't seen forever. And they were like saying congratulations and they liked my post. So I was like, okay, my girl's still here. They still see me. So it's just, that encouragement to actually know that somebody sees the light in you. That's what community is. Having people see the light that you are and not be jealous of that light or try to take that light or dim that light. They love your light. They feed into your light. They feed into you. That's what community is. And that's what I feel like I need to be to my community. I need to be that light to bring that joy and that, that uplifting to them. So that's kind of, how it goes hand in hand for me. You need a tribe. I tell my clients all the time, where's your support system? You need somebody to support you. You need that. But make sure they're safe and they're helpful. And you have to learn that who safe people are. Once you find your safe people, keep those people. And that's what our community is. It's safe people. It's a safe space. It's a loving space. It's a nurturing space. It's a healing space. I don't know if it's just because we're social workers, but I mean, it's a good community. So that's what it really means to me. If it's someplace safe and it heals you and it replenishes you, then you're good.
Absolutely. And then you can have these big wins. The juxtapose though is this. I feel like showing up every week after week,
Mm-hmm.
we all kind of got to know each other and, loving on each other and rooting each other on. But then I also said we both agree, but then don't tell nobody when you're taking a test. So
Mm-hmm.
it feels like, yes, be in community, but still know this is still an individual journey.
You gotta keep some stuff to yourself. It's all right to keep some things to yourself. That is one of them. Like we all agree, hey, when it's time to take this test, you'll know whether it's good or bad because we're gonna drop a little note in here. But until then, don't ask me no questions about that test because I don't know what you're talking about.
You're not getting that. And, I know people mean well when they're saying, when are you going to take the C? When are you going to take the exam? But saying that and then also knowing you've been in a place where nobody's pressuring you to take it, like, we know you got, yes, man, you know this stuff. We all tell each other that. You
Mm-hmm.
know this stuff, and when you're ready, you're going to let us know that you passed it. That's how, because we speak things into existence. You're going
Yeah.
to let us know when you pass it. But just a reminder, if you're in an agency or organization and you're kind of asking someone and you think you're being helpful, be mindful that it might be putting a little undue pressure on
Mm-hmm.
them and just support them in other ways versus asking questions that may feel intrusive and or pressuring. There's so many
Yeah.
other ways to support. So now, one of I told you in the beginning, all these questions are my favorite. Ooh, all these
Let's
questions are my
go.
favorite questions, but you've been doing this for 10 years. You went through the LM. You said it took a
Mm-hmm.
toll. Now you got your LC. You've changed jobs 1,011 times, which we love. We love. You've done DHR, which if you could do DHR, you could do anything, we always say. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if there was any belief systems about social work or any myths or stereotypes about social work that you may have had that over the last decade have changed the most for you?
To be honest, because I never knew what it was to begin with, all my experiences were learning experiences. So even when I got into the field, I think the career rather, I think, of course I'm a DHR, so the first thing you hear is all you do is take kids away. Even when I told people what I do, the first thing they say is, oh, you're taking somebody's kids. So I did, for a moment feel like social work was just DHR. I didn't necessarily know what we did in the mental health field or in the schools or, in other places. I thought mostly all social workers might have just been in DHR settings. But I knew that we didn't just take people's kids. So now that I was able to do a lot of hopping, I see how big social work is, and I'm glad it's not just one little, box. I'm proud to be able to say, okay, I can do any and everything because I am a social worker. I have so many possibilities. I think that's a big thing, unless somebody tells you what the possibilities are, you might just think that's the only thing that you have. So I had to learn that, there's more stuff out there. And I think even like we were saying earlier with that community, you learn different positions, you learn different things about, your career. And that really helped me out because I didn't know. I just took a job and my director said, go get your master's in it. And I think getting my master's in it with those group of people, that was a community for me as well, because I still talk to my little community from Troy. We still talk every day. So it's like, that really helped me see different aspects because all of us had different experiences in social work. So I just feel like, that was a big thing, just knowing that it was more out there. And I feel like where I was coming from, counselors were more versatile than social workers. Social workers were just put in this box. Now that I see we're not in the box, I feel like, okay, I can, beat my chest a little bit because I'm a social worker.
Yes, beat your
I can do
chest.
everything. I can do
Yes, we
everything.
can do everything. We are everywhere. I'm so glad you brought your Troy community up too, because I know y'all even have a name for yourselves and everything. I'm so honored that I know those women as well. But I love that even hearing and seeing what all they're doing, and then like you said, being within the Goddesses of Social Work community and seeing across the state, in fact, not even just across the state, because we have 7 or 8 travel social workers. So it's truly across the nation, seeing what everybody else is doing and then going and doing it yourself expanded your worldview of social work, being able to see there are so many things. And again, don't get stuck at a job if you're miserable, because to me, it's not just about you being miserable. You're going to make the clients miserable, and they deserve so much more than your misery. So I'm so glad. But all right, darling, this has been amazing. I finally got you here. You're finally clinically licensed. I got to hear your social work journey, and it has been an amazing journey. But now I want to know if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, the version of you who is just starting out in this profession, what would you say to her now?
You was right all along.
Mm.
You knew you had it. You knew who you were. So when those times come where you feel like it's not perfect, don't worry about that, because once you make that next step, you're going to get where you need to be. You always knew who you were. You always had it in you. You always had it. Keep that in mind. Never, under no circumstances, let that go. Because it was times, like I said, that I felt like, okay, I'm not enough. But then I had to check myself, because who are you talking to? So that is, I would tell her as soon as she stepped into that DHR office, girl, you got this. Come on. Let's go and get this out the way so we can go where we need to go.
I love that. It isn't that what all of our spiritual teachers tell us? It's been you all along. It's been all inside of you all along. You knew it all along. And now you do. You know this. So don't forget it.
Don't ever
Don't
forget it.
forever forget. Don't ever forget. Tanessa, oh my gosh, this has been such an amazing interview. Thank you for finally saying yes. Thank you for passing your test so that you can say yes and being such an inspiration. And congratulations again on becoming a licensed independent clinical social worker. It's such a beautiful milestone, and it is an honor to celebrate you and your journey. It really is. Yay. And to our listeners, I hope Tenessa's story reminds you that none of us are walking this path alone. This work, this calling thrives in community. And when we share our experiences, we make space for each other to rise. Thank you all for listening to the Goddesses of Social Work podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Goddesses of Social Work podcast. We are glad you were here. If you like this episode, please come back to hear more stories of the journeys through social work, and please leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. See you next time here on the Goddesses of Social Work podcast.